Hey everybody, it's Julie. Welcome to Hello Monday. Today I'm going to be featuring a project that I had talked about doing and it just dawned on me that I had forgotten to share it. Anyway, it uses some watercolor panels that I had done in a previous session and I had die cut the flowers. I used distress reinkers and I will include a link back to that Hello Monday video specifically here on this video so that you can get a quick review of what I did back then. But after I had die cut those flowers and used them on these cards right here, I saved the negative pieces and tucked them. I just left them on the dryer sheet and tucked them inside a Ziploc bag. And that's what I'm going to be using to create this project. So you can see that some of the flowers have already been used from this die cut sheet of watercolored paper. And now I'm going to take the negative petals that are remaining on the dryer sheet because it had them all stuck on there, so I didn't lose any of them. So I'm actually going to remove the petals and kind of lay them out onto a piece of crafting plastic, and I think this piece is about 2.5 inches, 2.25 inches maybe square. And I found that instead of gluing them one at a time, it was going to be a lot easier to kind of figure out their placement based on, I just kept looking back at that negative sheet for the placement and the spacing. And then I'm going to take some Post-it tape and go right over the top of them so that I know that this is how they're all going to go down together all at the same time. Save myself some grief. And I could have used glue dots, probably should have used glue dots. That would have been the better choice, I think. But my multi-medium was sitting right there, so I grabbed it because if I have to get up and go look for something, I usually don't. I just reach for whatever's closest to me, and that was it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on the back of each petal, but not too much, because if you put too much, it's going to squidge out, like my friend Debbie Hughes likes to say when she puts too much glue on something. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue on the back, and then when we press down on those petals, it's going to kind of spread out there behind, and those will stick to that crafting plastic. And then the trick here is you got to be patient and let it dry. This is why the glue dots probably would have been better for someone like me who's so impatient. Anyway, I'm going to use the same method. This time I went and grabbed a piece of that other tape, the one that's more sheer. You can see through it a little bit. Because I wanted to be able to see where the little flower centers were, and I couldn't see that through the Post-it tape, so this was going to be a better choice for tape and getting a hold of all those. Now those little tiny flower centers stuck a lot more firmly to the dryer sheet, so I had to work with my tweezers in there to get them to lift off. But I do think in gluing these down, it was going to be a lot easier to use this same method than it was to try to glue them down one at a time. And I just put a little puddle of that multi-medium on a Post-it note and used a pin to get little teeny tiny dots of glue to put on the back of those. So now you can see I'm taking the flower center and going ahead and anchoring it down onto the crafting plastic where it needs to go there in the center of the petals. And then again, you have to be patient and let that glue dry. I wasn't, of course. And I had to get in there with my tweezers to try to separate the tape away from without lifting those little flower centers back off again. So I did that. It was kind of tedious because I should have been more patient. But anyway, I'm moving on. And I took Label Love, and I love the sentiments in this and the fact that they reflect that whole Dymo label look. I love that retro look. And I've got that ready to go. I trimmed it out, and then I'm going to 3D mount my flower here by adding some foam tape on the back side of the petals. Now when you flip it over, you're not going to be able to see any of the adhesive. So I'm just also going to take, while I've got it up here and I haven't anchored it down yet, I'm going to make a messy nest of metallic gold thread, just very loose, and just kind of tuck it and mash it around in there, make sure it's as thick as I like it. Kind of got away from me there, it was rolling off. And just add one last little curl there, and we'll trim off the excess, and then we can flip it over and mount it to the card front. So it's going to sandwich that gold thread right there against the white wood grain card. And this is an A2 white wood grain card that I already made in advance because I knew I wanted to have that texture showing through. And then I'm going to take the label sentiment and just flush mount it because I really wanted the emphasis to be on that flower kind of floating. It looks like it's floating a bit from the surface of the paper because of that really cool crafting plastic. So now we'll go ahead and get that mounted into place. And as I was finishing it up, I was like, it just looks kind of drab. It needs something to give it a little bit of zing. So I grabbed my Wink of Stella black marker, and the brush tip on this marker is so fine and nice that you can get in there into those really tiny spots and add some really pretty black shimmery sparkle there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that to highlight the flower and keep my flower from getting swallowed up by the background. And I just really love how it looks, kind of floating there in the air. And that when you have those little teeny tiny pieces, that's one way to get that 3D effect and have it look like it's floating. And then I'm going to take some of those Pretty Pink Posh sequins. I love those marshmallow sequins, don't you guys? I use them, just tons of them. I'm like, girl, make them in every size and I will buy them. You hear me, girl? Anyway, I love this effect. I hope it sparks some ideas for you in using the negative type pieces from your die cuts. All the supplies are available at ellenhutson.com. You can see more tips on this and some still shots at the classroom blog. And thanks for watching.